But I got to tell you something else before I tell you the ghost story. And this is something I was only going to tell Bridger and Julian because they're my grandsons and I love them. But when I thought about it, I realized that I had to tell their friends too because they care about you. And this is something you can't repeat because there's only two people who know it right now, me and Silo Sam. And if he finds out that I told you, I could be history. Now, it kind of starts down here at the mill. Everybody knows where the mill is, the new mill that they're refurbishing and refixing up and everything. Well, it used to be a flour mill, and when it stopped being a flour mill, there was no other use for it. They couldn't repurpose it. So they just left it alone and it got all derelict and falling down and everything else. But it turned out to be a really cool place for boys to go to hang out. You heard about this? Been there? Good. Well, boys would go in there. It was easy. You just broke a window, climbed over the fence, and once you got inside, you could do whatever you wanted to do. All that stuff that your parents don't want you to do, all that stuff that you're not allowed to do, that you're too young to do, that it's against the law, you could do it there. You could even paint on the walls in there. Or you could bring a garbage can and have a small fire in there. It's great. Well, well, what I found out was my husband and I walked past there a lot. And we talked to the workmen to see how long it's going to take them to finish. And they're a nervous bunch because stuff is happening down there. Bricks are falling off the wall just like for no reason. And tools are being dropped and almost hitting them. And the weirdest thing is they keep painting over the graffiti inside. And whatever kind of paint they use, it bleeds through the paint and comes back again. So, I know why, and I'm going to share that with you. I had this friend, her name was Mary, and she's the one who told me about it. She had a 16-year-old son. His name was Sam. And Sam didn't have a lot going for him. He was really ordinary. And so he fell in with the bunch that went down to the mill and hung out there. And he was happy there. They were his buddies. And there was one girl there. Her name was Kathy. And Kathy fancied herself an artiste of painting on the walls, graffiti artiste. She loved making those fancy letters and coloring them in with psychedelic colors. So, Sammy saw her and he fell along and he fell hard. But he was too shy to ask her out. So he said, can I be your assistant? I'll help you. I'll shake up the cans for you. I'll pry the lids off. I'll carry the cans for you. I'll clean up. I'll hold the chair for you when you stand on it to get up high. And she said, sure. And the two started working together and they were friends. And Sammy was figuring that pretty soon he'd have the nerve to ask her out. But a new kid came around. His name was Nick. And Nick had everything going for him. Nice build, cool hair, blue eyes, the kind of guy that girls fall for. And Kathy fell for him, long and hard. They were a couple really fast. And Sam was green with envy. He was so mad. Green with envy. Worst of all, Nick was a bully. Nick somehow sensed that Sam liked Kathy. And every time he put his arm around Kathy or went to hold her hand, he'd look at Sam and he'd sneer. And Sam was green with envy. Well, one day at school, Kathy asked Sam to help her do her big project. Her big project was painting the sign up there on top of the mill. The kids took their turn making graffiti up there, and it was her turn, and she was excited, but she needed help. She needed to get all her stuff up there. She needed somebody to hold the ladder so she could reach the top. And she asked Sam to help her. He'd have to sneak out of his house at 1 o'clock, because this had to be done under cover of darkness. Sam was thrilled. He was going to spend the night with Kathy. This was his big chance. He made his bed look like he was sleeping in it, went out the window, went down to the mill, helped Kathy. When he got there, Nick was there. And he said, "You didn't think I was going to let you along with Kathy all night?" Oh, Sam was green with jealousy. Oh, he was furious. And all three of them climbed all the way up to the top. Took the ladder and the cans and everything up there, and it became like a battle. Kathy would say, "Give me the red paint." Both boys would go for the red paint. And most of the time, Nick would win because he was the bigger guy. And then Kathy stepped up on the ladder, and both boys went for the ladder. But this time, Sam was determined that Nick wasn't going to get there first. And he went, phew, fell into Nick. He caught Nick completely off guard because Nick never thought that Sammy would even try something like that. And he backed up and he went, ah! He fell down the silo, all the way down to the bottom. And Kathy turned around and said, "What did you do? What did you do? I love Nick. You killed Nick." And he said, "Kathy, calm down, calm down." Oh, Sammy was angry at Kathy. He said, stop it, you didn't love Nick." "Yes, I did." "You didn't, you did." "No." He reached out for her and she backed up and help! She fell down the silo too. Sammy was up at the top. First he was scared. What did I do? And it felt good. It felt good to get rid of that Nick and that Kathy. She didn't appreciate all he'd done for her. He got rid of them. But they were down there, both of them, and he heard. That made him angry again. He started to pick up the paint cans and he threw them down the silo, one at a time. Boom, boom, oof, oof, oof. He threw the whole ladder down. And then it was quiet. And he sat there for an hour or two to make sure. And he went home. Well, when Kathy and Nick turned up missing, they found out that Kathy's mother didn't like Nick. She forbade Kathy to even be anywhere near him. And then they determined that Kathy and Nick had run away together. So that was it. Except Tommy. Tommy was home. And for
Sammy.
a while, Sammy, he was manic. He was manic at home. He couldn't eat. He couldn't sleep. He didn't know what to do with himself. He just felt this rage, and he had nothing to do with this rage. He dropped out of school because he couldn't go there. He couldn't concentrate. And then he found the one thing he could concentrate on: Fortnite. He could play Fortnite. He could slash, he could kill, he could beat, he could run over, it was so much fun! And he was a winner. He could concentrate on this like nobody else. He played 24/7. He went in tournaments and won money. It's a good thing because he couldn't hold down a job. His mother didn't know what to do with him, but he was just staying in his room and he was earning some money, and she just left him alone. Well, we started talking about refurbishing the mill, fixing it up, and then Sam heard that, he got all manic again. He was running around the house, not eating, not sleeping, and he couldn't play Fortnite anymore because it was bothering him. It was they're gonna find the bodies. They're gonna find the bodies. The kids are gonna tell. They're gonna find the bodies. The kids are gonna tell. I gotta kill the kids. I gotta kill the kids. First thought he thought was burn down the mill. And you can go check Johnson City Press because he tried to burn down the mill. Did you see that in the paper? He's on TV. Bridger saw it. He tried to burn down the mill, but he only burned the whole roof down when the firemen got it out. He came home that night reeking of smoke. His mother said, "What did you do?" "I had to do it. They're going to find the bodies. I had to do it. I burned down the mill." Why? He told his mother the story. But his mother couldn't tell anybody. It was her only son. She didn't want him to go to jail. She didn't tell the police. She only told me. She swore me not to tell. I didn't even know if it was true. Until last week at the Science Hill football game, a couple of guys came out. They were driving and they didn't have their license, and they wanted to avoid all the traffic, so they left a little early. And they got to the car, and a guy with a knife jumped out and said, "I got to kill the kids. The kids are going to tell. They're going to find the bodies. So I got to kill the kids." And the boys just took off running. Luckily, the game ended, and all the people came out, and they got away. Then, up there on Tannery Knob, some bicyclists said there was a guy hiding behind a tree that jumped out at him with a knife, and he said, "I got to kill kids. The kids are going to tell. They're going to find the bodies." When I heard that, I knew I had to tell. I had to tell Bridger and Julian so that they wouldn't go up there. And I'm telling you too, because Silo Sam is out there. So be careful. Stay in a group. Don't go down the mill. And you've been warned.
Thank you.